Well, you get a kind of a little bit of rest before you hit this last stretch here. Only one game this week, but what a big game to prepare for as you start this really kind of tough stretch to end the regular season.
Yeah, it's like they say, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and so we're trying to make sure we're doing the things that we have to do from a rest and rehab standpoint to make sure we're as fresh and have as much energy and legs under us as possible. And so, we survived a tough weekend at home here, but now we're getting ready, obviously, to get on the road, not just this week, but also the following week. So rest is important.
Just going back to Saturday's game, can you kind of talk about Alexis's performance? Obviously a career high in points, but 9 rebounds. You've talked about the importance of rebounding on year, and for her to be the one who's filling that stat sheet on the boards, that's a pretty special kind of day.
There you go, Cole. Thank you for recognizing her. Everybody wants to talk about the poise. She's in there fighting for extra possessions, and she actually got a foul called going for an offensive rebound late where the other player just kind of fell down and wiped her out. So she was trying to get a 10th rebound right there and got to go to the free throw line. So she's always been one of our – there's 2 ways to rebound. You can be a box-out guy or you can be a I'm going to go get it player. And Lex is just one of those that she's going to go get the ball. She just has a great knack and understanding about where the ball is going to go. And so, and she's tenacious in her pursuit of the ball. And we always talk to the team about being relentless after rebounds, and Alexis is that. She's relentless after the ball.
The Mills, certainly, you guys have their attention after the last meeting. That their only blemish in conference, they play so well at home, too.
Yeah.
You kind of combine both of those, and it feels like this is maybe going to be even a bigger challenge.
Well, they still have, arguably the most. I know New Mexico State had the most returning from a percentage standpoint. Well, maybe New Mexico or Liberty. I'm not sure. One of those two. They both had a lot, but I think Middle Tennessee still has the most experience. The experience in winning, the experience in playing in big games. The experience in playing in the tournament, winning conference championships. And so while we had other teams that returned a lot, they returned maybe the most valuable asset, which was just experience in winning at a high level, and they continue to do that. They're holding opponents to like in the low 50s, 53 or so, 53 something a game. And as we're getting ready for this, only 2 teams in our conference have even reached that number. They've held a number of teams in the 40s. And so as much as you can talk about, Bold Raven's ability to score, to me, Scott just got player of the week and had 28 and 30. And so, you can't leave Gregory ever open. She can probably make shots in her sleep. And then, all the players, Courtney Blakely, they're all good players offense, but really they're a great defensive team. And they're able to control the pace of the game with their defense. And so we've got to play great defense. We've got to take care of the ball. It's something we did well here. We took care of the ball. But we're going to still have to be able to put points on the board. And if we're having a hard time finishing layups or making shots or we're just not taking care of the ball, that makes that challenge increasingly more difficult. So we've got to play great defense. We've got to rebound like Alexis did. But we've got to knock some shots down.
You mentioned the defense, certainly, particularly the second half. That might be one of your best defensive efforts of the year against them because they have so many other weapons that you were able to kind of neutralize and hold them to 58 points. That's got to be encouraging that you've got something to build on, knowing, looking at the film. You're going to make adjustments, obviously. You're going to make adjustments, but you were really good defensively, particularly in that second half.
We did a lot of positive things. There were a couple there were several breakdowns. Tamia Scott did a great job of attacking us, getting to the basket, and she had a great game offensively. It's hard to keep all of them from scoring at the same time, and so we've got to do the best we can on Tamia and Jalen Gregory and those players to make sure that we're doing a good job of defensive rebounding. We can't let them have 3 and 4 chances at the thing, and we've got to make sure that when that time and score situation, we kind of got to know who they're going to look to, and we've got to try to minimize those opportunities and make those catches difficult.
Going into Saturday off the last game with a win, you have a little bit more comfort going into it, knowing you beat this this team last time, but I know it's a tough rivalry on the road. Does it feel a little bit more comfortable mentality-wise going into this game as opposed to maybe a couple times in the past where, you might have lost at home and then you're going on the road to try to beat them?
Yeah, I think obviously the players feel confident, that we're able to compete. And I think that's what you want, is you want a chance. You want a chance to be able to be in the game and have an opportunity to win. And so that's why we talked about there's certain things we have to do. We have to take care of the ball. We have to defend, but we've got to be able to make some shots. We can't miss 7 layups in the third quarter and think we're still going to be in a close ball game. And so we've got to do some of those things against great teams. You've got to play well. You can't play less than well and think you're going to have a shot. And so I think the girls are confident that they can do that, but we just got to follow through and actually execute that.
Bigger picture, next 3 on the road, 5 of the last 7 of the regular season on the road. That's a tough stretch. You kind of knew it was coming because you had it basically the other way around. But you got to feel, one, the way this team's playing, the confidence level was pretty good. And, certainly this team seems to be one of those teams that if you've had in recent years that would really kind of embrace this challenge.
Well, and we've talked earlier in the season about some of the non-conference trips that we've taken and trying to kind of to get ready for what that feels like to play. And we even scheduled some of our non-conference so that we had single-day turnarounds, so that we kind of had that feeling of what it was going to be like for conference. And we didn't get off to a great start with our first homestand, but we've done okay with keeping our routine on the road and trying to manage the travel. Now it becomes increasingly more important down this stretch because we have to manage the rest and recovery, and now we got class. And so I think we've got a lot of kids that, a lot of young ladies that are older. We don't have a real young team, and so I think that also helps a little bit more mature about getting your rest the night before, making sure you're prepared before you travel, and so we just got to continue to try to, Ruston's a hard place to play. They upset Liberty, I believe, at their place, and so we've got some tough road trips ahead of us, but right now we'll have to focus on Saturday, and then we'll have to turn around and get ready the next weekend. And, everybody had to play the same number of road games and home games, just that ours sort of leaned toward the end of the season.
Going off of last Saturday's game, Josie fouled out in that game, late in the game. Just how important is her, on both sides of the ball? She had the biggest game against MTSU last time around. How important is it that she, stays a little bit disciplined in this game to be out there for, maybe not the full 40, but just for the majority of the game?
Yeah, we're better when Josie Gillen's on the floor, period. And we need Josie to play at her, close to her best, for us to be at our best. And Joe, some of those fouls, they were fouls. Some of them I felt like were, the other plays went on, but we can't change that. We just need Josie to continue to play. She's been playing very smart. She's been playing very disciplined. I'm talking mainly on defense, and we just need to continue to do that so we can keep her in the game. We don't need to, when she's sliding in and out, it's hard for her to get in the flow of the game or get into a rhythm defensively, much less offensively. And so we just need her to be able to stay out there and stay in that rhythm because she can be. She's very disruptive on the defensive end, and she's a player that you've got to guard on the offensive end.
On that same note, on Saturday's game, did you feel like she was more vocal on the sidelines as a leader when she was out of the game?
I heard her down on the bench down there. There's certain players I heard, they get excited in the game, and so and sometimes they're fussing at the referees instead of cheering on their teammates. But majority of the time, I hear them encouraging and cheering for their teammates. And this team, in practice, they'll compete, head to head. But when it comes game time, they're all about, the main thing, and that's finding a way to win.
Obviously, you guys have already won 2 games more than you did last season. Can you kind of just talk about the mentality of wanting to win? Obviously, you mentioned how this is Alexis's last year and Destiny's, just how they're wanting to win and finish on a high note.
Well, we want to compete at the highest level. We're trying to get back into the spot where we can compete for a championship. And so, and last year was frustrating. We had several games down the stretch there. We felt like we were in a spot to win, and we just didn't close it out. We made a lot of mistakes and didn't close those games out. And I think this, just even our game Saturday against Jacksonville State, there was several opportunities there where that team might have lost last year, but this, they just locked in. They knew what they had to do, and we made some big shots, made some big plays, and we're able to get past that one. And so I know that this team is focused on just a game at a time. They know the standings, they know where we are, but they're pretty good at making sure that we give the respect to the opponent that we're getting ready to play, whether it's Middle Tennessee or Jacksonville State or Kennesaw State. Just each team, and you've seen this conference, just about anybody can beat anybody on a given night. And so you've got to show up, and you can't just show up, you've got to show up for all 4 quarters. And we've had games where we've started off well and not finished well, but we're trying to get to where we're more consistent so that we're able to play and compete for that championship.
I asked the same question to Coach Clona just a bit ago. Valentine's Day's Friday. You were 100 Miles of Hate games on Saturday. Don't you think that's kind of ironic?
That is a little ironic. We'll try to make sure we show a little love to our players.
Anything else?
Thanks.